Amber Hayes ran a $200 million cosmetics empire, but she could not buy a single honest man. 9 blind dates. 9 men who calculated her net worth before asking her name. So she did something insane. She became poor. Minimum wage job, fake name, cheap clothes. The 10th date arrived late, wiping grease off his hands. "Sorry," he said. "Had to drop my daughter at tutoring. I'm a single dad." Amber froze. Out of 9 wealthy men, why was he the poorest one, the only man who said yes? 3 years ago, Amber Hayes buried her father and inherited an empire she never asked for. Hayes Beauty had made the family name synonymous with luxury cosmetics across North America. 200 million in assets, 1,500 employees. A glass tower in downtown with her name engraved in the lobby. She was 32 and completely alone. Her father used to tell her that success meant nothing without someone to share it with. He died believing she would find that person. Instead, Amber found parasites. Men who smiled too wide. Men who researched her net worth before the appetizers arrived. Men who asked about board positions before asking about her day. 9 dates, 9 failures. That night, she stood in her penthouse overlooking the city and made a decision that would have horrified her board of directors. She would disappear, not physically, but financially, socially. She would become invisible in the only way that mattered to men like the ones she had been meeting. She would become poor. 2 days later, Amber signed a lease on a studio apartment in a working class neighborhood 40 minutes from her office. She bought clothes from discount stores, plain jeans, shirts without designer labels. She opened a dating app and created a profile under the name Amy. Occupation, office worker. Salary $8 million per month. Her assistant Carla noticed the changes immediately. She was 29 and had worked for Amber for 5 years. Loyal, efficient, and possessive in a way that made Amber uncomfortable sometimes. Carla watched her boss with the intensity of someone who had built their entire identity around proximity to power. "You are not actually going through with this," Carla said when Amber explained the plan. "I am," Amber replied. Carla did not argue after that, but her disapproval hung in the air like smoke. The 10th date was on a Tuesday evening at a cafe that served coffee and mismatched mugs. Amber arrived early and chose a table near the window. She wore jeans and a sweater she bought for $20. No makeup except mascara, no jewelry except a watch that actually needed winding. Ethan Cole arrived 10 minutes late. He rushed through the door looking flustered and apologetic. His hands were stained with something dark that might have been grease or oil. He saw Amber and his expression shifted from panic to relief. "I'm so sorry," Ethan said, sliding into the chair across from her. "I had to take my daughter to her tutoring session. The traffic was worse than I thought." Amber watched him try to wipe his hands on a napkin. "You have a daughter?" "Yeah, Lily. She is 7. Ethan gave up on his hands and looked at Amber with tired brown eyes. "I should have mentioned that in my profile. I am a single dad. If that is a problem, I completely understand." For the first time in 9 dates, Amber felt something shift in her chest. "It is not a problem," she said. Ethan smiled. It was not the practiced smile of a man trying to impress someone. It was real and slightly embarrassed and completely unprepared for what it did to her. "How was your day?" he asked. Amber blinked. "What? Your day? Was it okay? You look tired." Nobody had asked her that in months, maybe years. The men she met asked about her company's quarterly earnings, about her investment strategy. They did not ask if she was tired. "It was long," Amber said carefully. "But okay. Have you eaten?" "Not yet. I came straight from work." Ethan glanced at the menu, and Amber saw him calculate prices in his head. "I work at a warehouse during the day, and I drive deliveries at night. 2 jobs. Yeah, it is what it is." Ethan looked at her again, and there was no shame in his expression. Just honesty. "I know I don't have much to offer. I live in a rental with my daughter. I drive a car that is older than some of my coworkers. If you are looking for someone who can take you to fancy restaurants or buy you nice things, I am probably not that guy. Amber felt something crack inside her chest. What if I'm not looking for that? Ethan studied her face. Then maybe we should order some coffee and see what happens. They talked for 2 hours. Ethan told her about Lily and how she loved science, how she drew pictures of planets and asked questions about black holes that he could not answer, how she wanted to visit the Natural History Museum to see the dinosaur exhibits, but the family tickets cost $500 and he was saving up. Amber told him about her own childhood, about her father taking her to museums every weekend, about how she used to think she would do the same thing with her own kids someday. She did not tell him about the company, about the penthouse, about the fact that she could buy the entire museum if she wanted to. When they left the cafe, Ethan walked her to her car. It was not her real car. It was a 10-year-old sedan she bought specifically for this experiment. Can I see you again? Ethan asked. Yes, Amber said. I would like that. He smiled and something in his expression made her want to tell him everything, but she did not. She got in the car and drove back to her studio apartment and sat on the edge of the cheap bed and wondered what she had started. The second date was at a park on Saturday afternoon. Ethan brought sandwiches he made himself. They sat on a bench and watched people jog past while he talked about Lily again, about how his ex-wife had left when their daughter was 2 years old. How Rachel had decided poverty was not romantic after all and moved away with someone who could afford the life she wanted. She does not talk to Lily, Ethan said quietly. Not even on birthdays. I'm